Hello, we'd like to welcome you aboard our Clipper America. As we tour the interior of this 747-100, we'd like to point out some of the exciting features of this newly refurbished aircraft. But first, before we go any further, we'd like to remind you that aircraft equipment is designated left or right when facing the front of the aircraft, and the seat rows are numbered forward aft. There are 10 exit doors on this aircraft, 5 on the left, called L1 through L5, and 5 on the right, called R1 through R5. On our 747-100s, we offer 3 classes of service: first class, Clipper or business class, and cabin class. The aircraft is divided into 6 zones on 2 decks, which include the upper deck, and 5 zones on the main deck, A through E. We're now standing at the L1 entry door in first class cabin. Our cabin holds 25 passengers, 4 in B zone, and 21 in A zone. Let's go inside and take a closer look. Here we are at the front of the first class cabin. This is the first class movie screen, which is opened by rotating this handle and simply pulling down. Seats in first class are designated A, B, H, and J, and the 2 center seats are E and F. This is one of our standard overhead bins. It accommodates 40 pounds of passenger luggage, and these extends on both sides throughout the aircraft. We will soon be adding new super bins, which can accommodate 190 pounds of carry-on luggage. In this overhead bin is the in-flight entertainment movie projector. This periscope is lowered just prior to viewing, and I'll show you the interior. This is the projector and the Super 8 movie cartridge. Here in the center we have the first class credenza. On the forward and aft sides we have magazine racks, and there are bifold doors on either side so that you can open them up and stow carry-on luggage. The surface is used for magazines and newspapers to display prior to departure, and during the flight we display first class service items here. This is one of our first class sleeperette seats. This is a Pan Am trademark. They're very comfortable. They recline to 60 degrees and have a extendable footrest. It's opened by pulling the Velcro strap and lowering these legs. It's stowed simply by reversing that. Here in the first class seat armrest, we have the passenger service unit. It has the seat recline control button, the outlet for the electronic headsets, the individual reading light switch, selectors for the in-flight entertainment volume and channel, and the flight attendant call button. When this is pressed, a chime rings and a light is illuminated above the seat. Here in the armrest is the tray table. Here at the L1 jump seat is a rather standard jump seat. This one is a single aft-facing jump seat, almost identical to the others. They're either single or double, or forward or aft-facing. There is an interphone at each seat, just like this one. Here on the wall is a control panel. This is the master control panel because it's at the purser seat at L1. There's one at each jump seat. The ones on the left side of the aircraft control the cabin lighting. The ones on the right side of the aircraft control the passenger entertainment system and the passenger services system. Here behind the L1 jump seat is the pre-recorded announcement machine, which is used for supplemental language announcements when needed. It has 2 units, one which is here, the tape recorder behind L1, and a secondary microphone. The cassette library is located in an identical location over at the R1 seat. Let's take a closer look in the first class galley. The first class service is conducted from this area, referred to as Galley 1A, or the first class galley. Let me point out some of the equipment for you. Up here we have the control panel and circuit breakers, the coffee maker, miscellaneous stowage area, the ovens, which open like this, and the roll warmer. Below the counter, we have cart stowage locations, This is a secondary latch for cart security. In addition, on the floor there are mushrooms which the carts latch onto. If this were a fully loaded aircraft, there would be carts all the way across here. In addition, in this galley, there is a waste container, and this is the stowage location for the first-class serving carts. Across from me, beneath the stairwell, is additional stowage space. Behind me is the area referred to as the R1 aux bar. It is used mainly for liquor and beverages setup. The surface is used to set up the pre-departure drink service, and in flight, the bar is set up on that surface. Up above, there's a pull-down shelf. Here are the stowage areas for glassware and ice and beverages. There's another waste container, and again, a light switch to illuminate the working area. Now let's go down this aisle and I'll show you the first-class stowage locations and lavatories. Here, immediately behind the R1 aux bar, is one of the first-class lavatories. Behind it is a first-class closet. When we convert these aircraft to the video projection system, the control will be housed in this closet. Here on my right is the second first-class lavatory, and directly opposite from it is an additional first-class stowage location. Now that you're familiar with first class, let's talk about Clipper class. Clipper class is in two sections. There is 14 passenger seats up the stairs on the upper deck, and here in front of us there are 38 Clipper class passengers on the main cabin level. Now let's go upstairs and have a look at Clipper class on the upper deck. Here on the upper deck there are 14 Clipper class seats. They're 4 abreast and designated AB on the left and HJ on the right. These seats have been completely redesigned and restyled to afford more comfort and space for our Clipper class passengers. Behind you there are 2 stowage closets, and since there are no overhead bins here on the upper deck, we have sidewall bins for their luggage stowage. Behind me is the jump seat for the upper deck flight attendant. It's open by pulling up the top. There's a metal handle which you pull up and then lower the seat. The seat is stowed simply by reversing that. Here on your left is an additional stowage compartment. Behind me is the cockpit door, and on your right the lavatory door. And again on your right is the upper deck galley. This upper deck Clipper class galley has a control panel on the forward wall with the circuit breakers. There's a water outlet and a sink and a waste bin. Behind me are stowage compartments, and here on the left is the electrical equipment, coffee maker, oven, and roll warmer. In addition, there's a privacy screen that locks in 2 positions, and there's also a waste bin. This galley serves the Clipper class passengers on the upper deck. The remaining 38 Clipper class passengers are on the main deck, 24 in B zone and 14 in C zone. As we move from first class into Clipper class, we pass on your right the Clipper class lavatory and 2 additional Clipper class stowage locations. Here on the main cabin in B zone, our Clipper class has 28 seats. They're identical to the seats on the upper deck, except that they are 6 abreast. They're designated A, B, E, F, and HJ. Here at the front of the cabin, we have a pull-down movie screen, once again, identical to the one we looked at in first class. Here at the back of the cabin, we have magazine racks on the bulkhead, and directly below them, we have additional stowage space, which is referred to as a doghouse. It pulls out like a drawer and contains seat belt extensions, cart casserole carriers, and other miscellaneous equipment. Both of these items are located on each bulkhead throughout the aircraft. Now let's have a look at our Clipper class galley area. Here between doors L and R2, we have the Clipper class galley. It serves Clipper class in the forward part of cabin class. It consists of 2 galley modules, Galley 1B and Galley 1C. Since these 2 modules are identical, I'll describe the equipment on only one side. This is a miscellaneous stowage compartment the coffee maker, the circuit breaker and control panel, another miscellaneous storage compartment, roll warmer, and ovens. There's a waste container, an additional compartment for serving carts, cart casserole carriers, or other equipment. And once again, beneath the counter, you see the red meal carts used for service. Behind me is the R2 aux bar. There is an auxiliary bar identical to this one over at the L2 door. This is mainly used for our bar and beverage services. Supplies are stowed in these cabinets as well as in this one. And below the counter, we have our blue bar carts. Here in the corner is an additional waste container. Now let's have a look in C Zone. As we move into C Zone, you'll notice that Clipper class continues with 14 additional seats. They're in exactly the same arrangement as you saw in B Zone. The seats are the same. The passenger service unit is in the armrest, and it is exactly like the one we saw in first class. And the Clipper class tray table is in the armrest. Here at the front of the cabin, behind this decorator panel, is the movie screen. It's opened by pressing on this button, pulling out the bottom, and rotating the panel. It's closed exactly the same way, and latches at the bottom. A screen identical to this one is located at the front of D and E zones also. Here above the screen, you'll see the no smoking and fasten seatbelt signs. These are located in recessed compartments in the overhead bins throughout the aircraft. As we move further into C Zone, cabin class begins with 76 seats. They're arranged 10 abreast. The 3 seats on the left are the A, B, C seats. Those in the center are D, E, F, G, and these on the right are H, J, K. The first row of seats in each cabin class section have their tray tables in the armrests, and the remainder of the seats have their tray tables in the seat backs. Once again, the passenger service unit is located in the armrest. Since the cabin class passengers view their movie selection on the Clipper class screen, this partition needs to be lowered. These partitions are to remain stowed at all times except during takeoff, landing, and while the film is being shown. As we move from C Zone into D Zone, we pass the L and R3 doors and 4 cabin class lavatories. D Zone holds 91 passengers. Behind this decorator panel is the movie screen. Seats are once again 10 abreast. Immediately behind the D Zone is the large cabin class galley complex. Between the L and R4 doors is the large cabin class galley complex. It serves the majority of cabin class passengers. There are 3 modules. The forward one is galley 2A, which is essentially a storage area. The center module is galley 2B, which has a working surface and storage areas above. And the aft module is galley 2C, which has all the electrical equipment. Beneath each of the counters is storage locations for carts. In addition, there are storage locations above the galley complex. Now let's move into E Zone for a look at our last cabin. I am standing at the back of E Zone between the L and R5 doors. Directly behind me are 6 cabin class lavatories, 3 on each side. There is a closet and a jump seat on each side. And above the left closet, you'll find the Super 8 cartridge stowage location. This cabin holds 137 cabin class passengers, so as a total, the 747 holds 25 passengers in first class, 52 passengers in Clipper class, and 304 passengers in cabin class. It may interest you to know that the complete flight of the Wright brothers at Kitty Hawk could have taken place inside a Boeing 747. This concludes our tour of the 747-100. Your instructor will now review in detail some of the equipment. Thank you.